Good afternoon. This is Paul Corner from Perfect Golf Event, and thanks for coming to the webinar today on President's Day. I kind of forgot it was President's Day, so I'm surprised we have so many people on the webinar, but thanks for coming. So we're going to talk about online auctions and silent auctions today, and that hopefully that's what you signed up for. Just on a housekeeping note, you don't have to copy everything down because I had to send you a copy of the presentation afterwards, and also we record these. So just sit back, enjoy. And if you have any questions, there's a question area on the right-hand side. You can plug in if you have some questions, or I'll open it up for questions and answers towards the end of the session as well. So again, thank you very much for coming. I appreciate it. So today we're going to talk about the benefits and objectives of an online auction, technology. This is one of the big things that comes up a lot, how to source the auction items. I'll call it creating donorship packages, how to promote your auction, work with an event day live or a silent auction, and then what the next steps are after the auction. So hopefully that's what you signed up for. And so again, I appreciate it. We do tend to go a little quickly because I know you're all busy. But again, I'm glad to send you the notes, and we also will have a recorded version of it as well. And you can play it in slow motion. So let's talk about why you do have an online auction. Well, obviously, the first thing you want to do is you want to raise more money. So auctions help you raise money for your organization. I also find that it's helpful because it helps you engage with your supporters. Sometimes we want to have sort of people come to the auction site, they view your items, they come back, you add some new items, and you kind of keep them involved. And it gives you a chance to promote your organization to a wide range of people as they come back to kind of view the auction items. So I like the concept of engaging with supporters. Also, if you have like a golf website, if you use a Perfect Golf Event for your website, you can link your auction to your golf event website, and where you have your sponsor logos uploaded. And then that allows people to see the sponsor logos, gives more traffic for your website. So there's some other advantage besides just raising more money. And it also helps you generate extra revenue before your event date. For example, I've got a big event coming up in September, but we already have our online auction up, and we have some items that we're not going to close out until right at the event. But each week we put up an item and say, hey, it's going to close out on Friday, so you can bid on it. That gets people coming back to the site, seeing new items, and then when they win, they can pay for that item, and it generates revenue leading all the way up to our September event. Now here's an example of an auction. So people ask me if you can make some money on an auction, and so we're just going to forget my typo there. I should say recent case study, not case study. But recently I did an 8-week auction with an organization. We had it tied to a golf event, and we had the items displayed at the golf event, but we closed the auction about a week after the golf event. And so we said, okay, here are the items, but you've seen everything. We had a brochure done for the event, for the auction that showed all the items. And then we said, but the auction's still going to be open for another week, so you can come back and do it. We had donated items, things were donated by supporters with the organization. Then we had some consignment items. I'll show you some of those in a bit. We had consignment items that Perfect Golf Event provided that you only paid for if they sold at a profit. So it helped you populate your auction with more items. We generated $49,000, over almost $50,000 in auction revenue. We had to pay for some of the consignment items, like some of the trips and things. So we had some consignment costs. They're about $12,000. So we had net revenue of $37,000, which for a lot of people is more than they make at their golf event. So again, they can be profitable, and maybe only make $4,000 or $5,000. Sometimes you can make more. But the key is it's just additional revenue, and there's other benefits we're going to review as well. So that's sort of a case study. In this one, we also had 72 bidders who actually bid during the auction. Now, not all of them won the items, but the good news is we had the information on those 72 bidders, so we could put those into our database and say, hey, here's people who registered for the auction. Here's their email address. Now I put them into the database. So if I have an additional events like golf events or trivia nights or galas or just a general fundraising, I'm building my database as well. So there's lots of side benefits to having an auction. Now, you've got to have the right technology, and it has to be easy to use because you don't want to be tied up with a lot of complicated steps in terms of building an auction. So I'm going to show you about the source items in a second, but just if you're looking at an auction site, again, hopefully you're looking at Perfect Silent Auction, which is the one we have. But again, if you're looking at any auction site, some of the features you're going to want to be is obviously the ability to upload your items. You can have things from consignment items and not donated items. People should be able to place their bids online, and you should be able to track what's happening in real time. So you should get notified, hey, there's bidding going on, here's what's happening, here's a high bid on this item. So getting that real-time information is important. You want to be able to set your bid amounts and increments. So, hey, starting bid could be $100, and each additional bid has to be $10, so people aren't just betting a penny or something. There should be a buy now feature. You should be able to upload photos and descriptions, create custom categories, be able to put up sponsor logos, recognize the donors, have featured items. Bidders should get notified instantly if they're outbid, so it increases your bidding. Winners should be able to pay. This is very important. Be able to pay for the item online before you deliver the item to them. As I talked about before, real-time reporting. You should be able to send out receipts emailed automatically to the winning bidders so they know, hey, here's my receipt. And you should be able to have the system be able to send up receipts to the donors to say, hey, your item's sold. Thank you for your donation. And you can use this donation for tax receipt. So you want an automated system that kind of does all the things so you can focus on finding items, adding items, and let the system take care of everything. And also, this is a new feature we just put in that allows you to send out SMS text notifications. So people, when they're registering to bid in the auction, they can opt in to get text messages and say, hey, I just uploaded a new item, a new signed memorabilia, or a new trip, go to the auction and bid it. So you have the ability to send out group text messages. Everybody opts in, so there's no scamming or no abuse. But it's a great feature for promoting your auction. The auction should be mobile friendly, and it shouldn't require anybody to download an app. Nobody wants to download a new app on their phone. We already got things loaded full of apps. So you can be able to hear right now with, again, Perfect Silent Auction, you can go, the person can view the auction, they can bid online, they don't have to download an app, they can go directly to the auction. So it can be viewed on their iPhones or iPads or laptops or regular computers, any vehicle that has internet access. And again, that's really important to be able to bid on mobile items, especially if you're doing an auction that's closing out the day of the event. And I'll explain that in just a second. Here's some examples of some auctions we've done. So again, you can have you'll have a headline, a banner. Here's a chance to bid on this auction, and then you've got featured items. People can go in, they can see all the different items that are being offered. This was for an auction in St. Louis. You know, so somebody donated a party suite at Busch Stadium. Somebody else donated a house at Beaver Creek, which was a big seller. We had some bottles of wine. Traditionally, there's lots of things that you can get to be donated to your auction that adds a lot to the value of your auction. And the bidding process is very easy. Visitors can come to your auction. They'll show them the current bid and the minimum next bid. What's the bid going to be? So here's the current bid is 150. So if they want to bid, they've got to go higher than that. They click on bid now. They enter their email and a password. They don't have to enter any more information. Just email and a password so we understand who's bidding and what's happening with the bids. They don't give you their payment information and shipping address until they've won an item. And then they'll automatically get a bid confirmation. They'll get notification if they're outbid, and they'll be alerted to winning bids with a link to pay for the winning item. So you don't have to chase them around to get a check or whatever. As soon as they win, and if they win multiple items, they can pay for all those items in the same transaction, which is really nice. And again, if you have a website with Perfect Golf Event, you can link your website, your auction, right to your Perfect Golf Event website. So it gives you the ability for people to say, hey, I see you have a golf event coming, but wait a second. While you're here, why don't you look at our auction? And we've got a great selection of things you can bid on. And that's what I found that's worked really well, is having my website up for my tournament. And at the same time, so you can see the tournament's not till September, But on my website, I've got a link to the auction and they can start bidding on items now. That's what you want to do. You want to get a lot of momentum for your auction. Now, people ask me, how do I source items for the auction? Well, that's really good and important. I'm working with an organization right now, and she's really an aggressive organizer. She put together a whole separate committee just for her auction. So she has a whole committee focused on finding auction items. So sourcing the product is important. You know, you're going to look for people like your committee members, supporters, volunteers, sponsors and players, local merchants, restaurants, wine shops, the golf course hosting your event, local sports entertainment organizations, local corporations, celebrities. So when I look at this, I say, okay, what are the types of things I want to get from all these people? And so you're going to go to your committee members and say, hey, do you have a house or condo that you have down by the lake that you could donate? Do you have a bottle? I just had one event where one of the committee members had a bottle of Pappy Van Winkle whiskey. And I was like, really, is that valuable? Well, the value of it was $5,000. And they donated that. And we started the bidding at $3,400 and it sold for $5,500. So sometimes you'll have somebody who'll surprise you with something cool to put into your auction. So what you're looking for are things that are easy to understand, easy to bid on. Wine and gift basket, rounds of golf. So if you have an event at a golf course, ask them to donate rounds of golf for you. Restaurant certificates. Go to restaurants locally and say, hey, do you want to drive more business in? Why don't you give me some certificates, you know, for a free 2-for-1 dinner or free appetizers, whatever it's going to be, and get people to come into your restaurant. Then they become repeat customers. Lots of people have extra tickets to sporting events, especially if you're in a major market. People are going to have box seats and they're going to have the club level seats. Could be local products like free oil changes or free landscaping evaluations, whatever it is. You can have a wide range of things. Maybe there's a local team that will donate some memorabilia. So just open up your minds to things you think could be bid. Those are all important. I've got, if you want, I have a sample solicitation letter that I send out for all of my auctions, because sometimes getting a phone call or having someone stop by works, but other times I'll send a letter out to local businesses and saying, hey, here's how we're raising money. Here's what the things we're looking for. I've had really good success in mailing letters out to people. And again, a lot of people don't get letters anymore. They get an email. Well, they probably get 200 emails a day. I probably get one letter a day asking them about an auction. So think about being creative in the way you go out and solicit it. Now, this is a pretty unique item in some way that some people miss, is trying to, when you're going out to get auction items, is giving some real value to the person, just like you do in your golf event. When you say, hey, become a sponsor for my golf event, you know, you're going to get, foursome, you're going to get reserved parking, you're going to get some special treatment at the event, special signage. So what I do for my events, when I go out to call on sponsors, I say, hey, I'm going to give you some special benefits. And so I call them donorship packages. And so what I do for my auctions, I create these. So I say, look, remember, I say to my people when I'm going out, you're competing with other fundraising events. There's lots of people out there doing fundraising auctions and galas and trivia nights. And so you've got to be unique. You want to have a clear message. Well, why am I raising funds? Where the funds are going to go? So get that clarified for everybody who's out soliciting. You know, and that's train your people on how to do that. Train them how the fund's going to be used. Where's the event? Who's attending? And remind them that by giving certain things like a wine basket or gift certificates, that people will come back in. I just worked with another event where there's a salon that donated facials to a tournament. And for an auction, they donate them. They had a real nice value. The facials were valued, I think, at $150. But when I talked to them after the auction, they said people came in and got their facials, and then they booked their next facial. They loved it so much. And that's what you have to get across to people is, hey, I'm helping you build repeat business. So come on in. So don't just ask for a straight donation. Give them a reason to donate. And then, as I said, I build donorship packages. What I mean by that is I said, look, donate something to themselves. So if you give me something worth $100, I'm going to put your name on our donor banner that's going to be at the event. I tie all my auctions to my golf events. Give me something that's $250, and I'm going to give you not only recognition on the banner, but allow you to place a special offer into the promotional bags that we're giving out to all the players. At $500, you get everything, but you also get special full separate signage at the event that's going to say, hey, thanks to so-and-so restaurant for donating a $500 gift certificate. Give me $1,000. I'm going to invite you and a guest to come to the reception, the awards reception, and you'll have a chance to interact with people, make some business contacts. So come on out to the event. And then if they donate something like the person who donated the house in Beaver Creek, that was really priceless. That in the auction that went for $16,000. So I give them all the benefits for above, but then I said, come on out to the event. We're going to introduce you to the group. Hey, thanks for donating your house in Beaver Creek. You're going to be able to present the certificate to the winner. Thanks for coming out. Here's you are, shake. Hey, John, meet Joe. Thanks. He's going to be staying at your house in Beaver Creek. We give them a special thank you gift that they can put in their office. And again, $16,000 Beaver Creek house is large, but there's a lot of people who have condos down at vacation places. It could be Lake of the Ozarks. It could be Gettysburg in Tennessee, if that's how I pronounce it properly. Could have shore places. So be creative and thinking, hey, do you have something you could share? I do a lot of success where people will offer to do a wine tasting. A lot of people are proud of their wine collections. So I said, why don't you do a wine tasting and bring 8 people to your house and sample some wines, all for a good charity. It's all tax deductible. And so if they give me some good stuff, they're going to get special treatment. Now, remember, when people become a donor and they come to your event, they see you at your events. Like I've had a lot of auction donors turn around and say, hey, I want to be part of the full event. I don't mind just donating, but how do I become more involved in your golf event? So I consider it kind of like a farm system for going forward. What's good news is when you use a perfect silent auction, you can manage your auction easily. You can create the auction start date and the end date. You can add content. You can create categories. You can set up a source so you'll know where everything's coming from, who donated it. You'll be able to track that back. And then you'll be able to track all your revenue and expenses. And you can customize your invoices and whether if they're not going to pay online, it allows you to customize the invoices if they're going to have mail a check, especially for larger items. So again, you can create custom categories for all the items. And then adding items to the auction, we've made it really simple. You just put in the name of the item, pick a category, where did it come from, what's the cost, what's the minimum starting bid, what are the increments, like they have to bid $10 each time to increase it. Are there any shipping costs? When's the auction open? When does it end? And you could do it for individual items. So I may have my auction running all the way to September 29th, but when I put a certain item up, that might be only there for a week. So I'm getting people to keep coming back and seeing new items. You could add it as a featured item. You can put in dimensions if you need them. You can add a description. And then once you're done, you put save and you upload your images. And then you can put in multiple images. So if you've got multiple, this is kind of a crazy Caddyshack collection, but you can add multiple images to your auction. So when people go to see it, they can see the featured item and they can see additional items. So it's really easy to add items to your auction. You have real-time reporting. You get a summary of all the bidding activity, summary of all the winning bids. And what I like is the report includes all the contact information. And so when you're done, you can go back. You can upload all that information into your database. You know who's bid on it. You'll have people who bid but didn't win, but you'll have all these people. And what I like about the bids are sometimes we call it second chances. Sometimes somebody bids for the item, and that I'll give you an example. For that Beaver Creek house, which went for $16,000, we had 2 other people that bid on it, but they only bid up to one bid 14 and one bid 15. So we had 3 high-level bidders for that house. So we sold it to somebody for $16,000, and then we went back to the other 2 bidders and we said, you bid $14,000 for the house. If we give it to you $14,000, you take a week at the house. So we sold it to all 3 of them at 14, 15, and 16. Kind of off the record, but think about how much money we raised by doing that. And you can do second chance reporting. So someone may bid on something like a restaurant certificate, and maybe you say to the person who bid, to go to the restaurant and say, hey, I had 2 bidders. Can you give me another one? I think you're going to get some good business there. So there's cool ways you can use reports to bring in additional revenue. So I said it's really nice when they register to bid, you have access to all their bidding information and their contact information. And then again, you can add donated items to the items. So it could be shopping sprees, or here's like, this is unique. Somebody offers architectural services, some photos, a shopping spree. These are donated items. But also with Perfect Golf Event, we have consignment items. So we have a whole catalog of items you can add that are easy to add. There's no cost unless they're sold. So you can add, things like trip to go to a college sports game, go to the Masters tournament. This is one of our most popular ones, tickets to the Masters. You can't legally say Masters. We have to say legendary Augusta Golf Tournament. But this is a great item to have bids. And so it's not inexpensive. The cost is $8,500. Your starting bid's $9,500. It usually goes for about $12,000. So you can add these to your auction, and they only pay for them if somebody bids on them and wins them. So we have a whole number of items. This has really been popular, Top Gun experience. So we have a whole number of items you can add quickly. We have a whole consignment section now where you can quickly add items to your auction. So you combine your donated items with some of these items, and you've got a whole cool selection for people to see. And this is unique. We just added this. We went to the PGA show with a vendor, and this person has licensed historical photos. And these are really popular with golfers. So this was the original photo of Gary Player, Arnold Palmer, and Jack Nicklaus. It was only available in black and white. They colorized it. And their theme, I love it, is they played in color. So how cool is this picture now colorized to look like it would have looked back then? And here's one of the most famous shots in golf. This is Ben Hogan at Marion. I have this frame print. It's been in my office for 12 years. It's a famous shot. They have a colorized version, and it's a beautiful version. And so you can add these items to your auction, and they've got historical. I'm doing an event in St. Louis, so I've got some St. Louis images. You got Babe Ruth, the Four Horsemen, some racing, IndyCar 5. So they've got a whole collection. We have a whole collection of colorized historical photos that you can add. And again, they're not expensive, and you only pay for them if somebody bids on them. But I will tell you what, the Cardinal ones I added to a St. Louis auction, that's Dizzy and Daffy Dean. When I sold 4 of those already, because people said, what a cool picture. So there's always we're always adding some new cool items for consignment items. And here's historical settings. So depending where you are, if you're in Chicago, that's Wrigley Field colorized. There's the original Yankee Stadium. So I have a whole collection of stadiums, all the sports teams. If you're interested, you just email us and we'll tell you what's available. It's nice items to add. And again, it supplements what you're doing with your donated items. So your auction doesn't have just 7 things. You can have 30 things and people go, this is really cool. You want to make sure you set some goals for your event. Now, if you've been to any of my webinars, you know that I always tell you to have a spreadsheet, put in your 2022 results by category, put in your 2023 projections, put your expenses in so you know what your expenses are, and then you have a net total. So I use this for all of my events. But remember, if you want to increase your revenue, if you're not hitting your number, get together an online auction. And I've put together a special spreadsheet that allows you to track all your auction items as well. So you can have, here's your donated items. What was the cost? They were donated, so 0. What's the value, the starting bid? What did it sell for? And your consignment items. So you can track all these items, and then you can feed that back into your revenue and expense template. Promoting your auction, you want to ask for this. I'll be glad to send you a copy of this as well. I put together a whole sheet on how to market an online auction so you know how to do it, how to get repeat bidding, how to stay in contact with people. I'll be glad to send a copy. And remember, you want to use social media. You want to go out, ask all your people, say, hey, we've just put an online auction together. There's some really cool items there. Maybe give them a picture of one of the items to post on social media. Tell them how to describe it, but get out there and use all the social media links to promote, but not only your golf event, but your online auction. If you're going to then have an event day, live or a silent auction, what I do to close out my auction, I don't use those bid sheets, paper bid sheets. I hate those. So basically, I set up boards with a picture of the item, and I have a QR code, and they can just scan the QR code, and it takes them directly to the item in my online auction. So they can walk around, they can see a picture of the item. Hey, here's a picture of the signed baseball or whatever it is. If you want to bid on it, just go to this QR code, takes them right to your auction. They can bid right there. It avoids paper bid forms. They can pay online. Nobody likes to have those auctions where there's 17 people lined up afterwards trying to pay. So use technology to have a more successful auction. And if you're going to have a live auction, some people will finish out their event with a live auction. If I do that, I only have no more than 5 items. I make sure that they're usually high value donated items. Could be a lakeside condo, a ski chalet, a wine tasting, maybe golf at a really exclusive club or a luxury box. But it only works if you have a really good, energetic host that can get the group involved. So don't even try it if you don't have somebody who's really energetic and get the crowd worked up and really bidding. The same, if you're going to have a silent auction, make sure, again, if you're going to have, you can use bid sheets, but I like to use the QR codes. But if you're going to have an auction, the day of your event, make sure it's easy, people can see it. And most importantly is make sure that they can check out easily and pay for it. You might want to use Perfect Golf Events quick pay option, so there's not really long lines when people are getting it, because I've seen a lot of auctions be really successful and then just have a horrible experience because people are standing in line trying to collect their gift basket and pay for it. Don't finish out your auction on a down note like that. So best next steps, go to Perfect Silent Auction to get started. If you have questions, you can email us at support@Perfect Silent Auction. And if you have a golf event with us, make sure you link your auction to your Perfect Golf Event website and you promote both. And we can help you do that if you have any need in linking it. Go to Perfect Silent Auction. There's a resource tab with a lot of tips on how to promote your auction, how to organize and plan it. And then if afterwards, if you want a copy of this presentation, just email me at Paul@Perfect Golf Event, and I'll send you a copy of the presentation, and I'll tell you where to download some of the handouts and things that you need. So again, I know we went quickly, and I hope you found this informative and that you have a very successful golf event and a very successful auction. Thanks very much for listening.